From the age of 18 to 28, I followed Jiangxing for 10 years. The night before our wedding, he said he was tired and turned to hold the hand of a younger girl. He thought I would still chase after him, begging him like a dog not to abandon me. But I didn't. I didn't make a scene, cancelled the engagement, burned the wedding dress, and threw away the ring. Jiangxing even bet his friends that I would soon return to his side to be by his side. Until my wedding news was sent back. Jiangxing went crazy. For the first time, he took the initiative to contact me. For the first time, he shed tears, and for the first time, he knelt down and begged me. I was holding the hand of another man. Thank you, President Jiang, for not marrying me. Our family of 3 thanks you. The 10th anniversary of being with Jiangxing was also my 28th birthday. I wanted to get married and take my lover's hand as we entered the next stage of our lives. So I took the initiative and ordered a diamond ring and had a wedding dress made. I thought, men can propose, women can too. So I picked this special day and went to find him with high spirits. When I arrived at the door of the private room, Jiangxing's frivolous and disdainful words came through the crack in the door. Zhao Ran? That yellow-faced woman is over, what's there to look at? I don't know if today is her birthday. I don't know if today is our anniversary. I know better than anyone else, I just don't want to see her. Inside the private room, there was nothing but laughter. They were toasting and drinking, they were singing and dancing. You're right, Zhao Ran is actually quite pretty. It's just that you, Jiang Gu, have so many options these days. Is that girl Lu Jingjing still with you? Jiangxing lit a cigarette and fell silent for a moment. Yes, she is. She's more interesting than Zhao Ran, and I don't want to break up with her yet. Jiang Gu is awesome. But Zhao Ran has been with you for 10 years. What are you going to do if she finds out one day? Jiangxing, nothing. I never planned to marry her anyway. There was another flattering sound. My heart was like an ice cave. I wiped away the tears from the corners of my eyes and turned away from this place full of surprises. I happened to pass Lu Jingjing, who had just entered the club. She was dressed up in gorgeous clothes and looked incredibly young. It was raining heavily that night, and I cried my heart out in the rain, completely sobering up. If you don't love someone, there's no point in staying with them for 10 years. I stopped pestering Jiangxing. 2 days later, he arrogantly and directly asked Lu Jingjing to marry him. Everyone said they were a perfect match, one mature and charming, the other young and delicate. Jiangxing, the difference between liking someone and not liking them is really great. Everything he is doing for Lu Jingjing now, he never did for me. He treats Lu Jingjing like she is the apple of his eye. He gave her a house, a car, and jewelry without blinking an eye. Almost everyone in the circle tacitly approved of his relationship with Lu Jingjing. A few people who had spoken up for me asked Jiangxing in a group of close friends if he had no regard for me for being so high profile while having 2 girlfriends. They said Jiangxing was really heartless and should swallow a silver needle. Jiangxing was annoyed and replied impatiently. Fine, just let me give Zhao Ran an explanation. I will make it clear, but those who talk about Jingjing behind her back, I will make you all suffer the punishment you deserve sooner or later. On the day my best friends made up for my 28th birthday, Jiangxing barged in, directly embracing Lu Jingjing. I hadn't cut the cake yet, but I followed the gaze of the crowd and turned my eyes to her. Jiangxing saw my bright smile at my friend and was taken aback. But he still hit me in the face in public, causing me great embarrassment. He held Lu Jingjing tightly and let out a breath. Zhao Ran, I came here to clear things up with you. I stopped cutting the cake and sat quietly, looking at him calmly. I know. Jiangxing, after 10 years, you're tired of it. You like fresh flowers, so you want to separate from me, right? He spoke lightly, as if I didn't love Jiangxing very much. But no one knew that my fingernails had dug into the palm of my hand. Jiangxing was stunned, surprised at my dignity, and wondering why I wasn't obsessed with the 10 years I had spent with him. He could only seem relieved. Since you know everything, then let's just break up. I agree, I nodded, glancing at Lu Jingjing in his arms. She's so young. Jiangxing, who had thought I was going to rebuke Lu Jingjing, suddenly stopped. His expression was full of surprise, and he assured me, we'll still be friends in the future. As long as you need anything, Jiangxing, will definitely help. I smiled and got up to leave. No need, Jiangxing. Every relationship requires 100% loyalty and devotion. Since you couldn't do that for me, you should do it for Miss Lu. I didn't feel like eating the cake anymore. I took my friend directly to the next venue. As we left, I heard whispers behind us. Jiang, you've gone too far. Zhao ran. She obviously hasn't done anything wrong. Even those who had previously followed Jiangxing in criticizing me couldn't help but feel sympathy for me. Only Jiangxing, only his tone was tinged with exasperation. What's there to be angry about? Zhao Ran has been after me for 10 years, and this time, she won't leave either. I know it in my heart. Do you want to bet? His friends accused him of being in the wrong, and he took it all in. She'll be back within a month. I'd like nothing better than to make her disappear, but as everyone knows, she loves me to the bone. Lu Jingjing's aggrieved voice came from afar. If she comes back, what about me, Mr. Jiang? Jiangxing pinched Lu Jingjing's face. You're my sweetheart. But you have to be good, or I'll make you go too. I stepped out in my high heels, not looking back, laughing, and then bitterly laughing. The night before I moved out of Jiangxing's house, the wedding dress I designed was delivered. At the time, I personally designed the wedding dress, incorporating Jiangxing's favorite style, and I had been looking forward to it for more than half a year. But now that it was in front of my eyes, it looked so ugly. I cut the wedding dress into pieces and burned them together with the photos of Jiangxing. I threw away the ring. This house belongs to Jiangxing, and God knows how much effort I had to put in to resist burning it down. I stayed in a hotel and called my teacher. My teacher thought I was still going to refuse to study abroad and got really angry. What a great opportunity! You can go abroad for further studies and get a gold-plated degree. Why didn't you go? Zhao Ran, for your stupid love, you've become someone else. I didn't say anything, just listened to my teacher's tirade, but I laughed. My face was wet with laughter. When my teacher got tired of yelling, I spoke up. Teacher, I've already submitted my application to go to Milan. Stop yelling, you've lost your love brain. My teacher was pleased with my final choice, and after hearing what I said, she started yelling again. What's the point of that stupid love brain? If I'd known that scolding you would make you sober up, I would have scolded you a long time ago. I nodded in agreement and appeased the old lady. A few days later, I also boarded the plane to Milan. After arriving in Milan, I got along well with another student of the teacher's. We studied drawing together and teased the teacher's sharp tongue together. Time passed quickly. I ignored what was going on back home, and it didn't reach me here. Life in a foreign country was busy and fulfilling, and I was healed. At Christmas, my friend organized a party with some old friends from China. But when I arrived, there were only a few people there. My friend said, I could only invite so many people. The other bigwigs are all too busy, and we're not exactly big shots either, so naturally they wouldn't come. After a few drinks, I was planning to sneak away too. But at that moment, the wind chimes outside the door started to ring. Mangjiu, a tall man, pushed open the door, with some snow and wind still clinging to his shoulders. My friends were all very excited. Mangjiu is an idol-level big shot. He is the same age as me, but he skipped grades all the way and is now a tutor. However, he is known for being strict and cold, and never takes on students, even if they beg hard. But even with such an arrogant personality, he is also an object of worship. Teacher Meng, why have you come? Mangjiu was still the same, cold and arrogant, and only nodded lightly to the crowd. He walked straight up to me and rarely revealed a smile. Long time no see, Zhao Ran. Mangjiu was wearing a gray-brown overcoat, a black scarf, and gloves, looking meticulous. But his hair was wet from the snow, and the warm snow water ran down his forehead and fell from his eyelashes. He was still as handsome as ever, but today he had something inexplicable about him. Long time no see. Shocked that Mangjiu and I knew each other, my friend's mouth opened wide. You actually know Teacher Meng? I laughed, old friends. Yes, old friends. Mangjiu followed my lead and smiled like a gentleman. Mangjiu looked at me and said, "Are you leaving?" I nodded and pointed to my flushed cheeks. Yes, I'm a little drunk. I'll walk you home. My friend anxiously tugged at my sleeve, giving me a wry smile and winking. I nodded at Mangjiu. As I followed Mangjiu away, I suddenly realized, did Mangjiu come all this way just for me? When we left the house, I saw that Mangjiu had brought an umbrella. If you brought an umbrella, why are your shoulders and hair wet? Mangjiu's umbrella tilted towards me. It was very windy, and it was inconvenient to use the umbrella when I came here, so I was slow. So what if you were slow? Mangjiu paused, then looked at me with deep eyes. Zhao Ran, I missed you once when I was 18 years old, and I waited for 10 years that time. My heart and mind trembled. Mangjiu walked me back to my apartment. On the way downstairs, he gave me the umbrella. It's not like back home, where the weather is always changing. Better safe than sorry. I politely thanked him, but didn't take the umbrella. Mangjiu, walk me upstairs. It's still early. Maybe come up for a cup of tea. Mangjiu was taken aback. He didn't answer me, but he already started unbuckling his seat belt. When I got out of the car, I was still standing on the side where the umbrella was tilted. I felt a little dazed. I thought about the night of my 28th birthday, when it was raining so hard and I had no umbrella, and how I made it home. Now, even if it wasn't raining, but just a slow, beautiful snowfall, someone was holding an umbrella over me. Thank you for walking me home today. Mangjiu looked at me, his mouth curling up slightly. You're welcome. I came here for you anyway. I smiled and went upstairs with him. In the elevator, he asked me, I heard you and Jiangxing broke up. I nodded, frankly, yes, he's made a new start, and I, the old person, should also quit. Mangjiu looked at me and took off his glasses. What about you, do you want a new start? We looked at each other. I don't know if it was the alcohol talking. I kissed him first. When I was 18, I encountered a multiple-choice question. Mangjiu was excellent in every way but had an unpleasant personality, while Jiangxing was at the bottom of the class but had a generous personality. That year, I took Jiangxing's hand. It took 10 years to solve this problem, only to find that there is no solution. Now, Mangjiu is standing in front of me again. He has given me a new choice. Is it out of revenge? Or is it because I have doubts about the first 10 years of my life? I want to know, if I had chosen Mengjiu back then, would my life still be without a solution? I was a little impulsive, like a reckless person, pressing Mengjiu against the elevator wall and kissing him. Mengjiu accepted, and reached up to protect my head, taking the initiative. At that moment, reason disappeared, and lust rose. I was embraced in Mengjiu's arms, unable to stop panting. Mengjiu's eyes were red at the corners. But I knew that it was more than just lust. There was also his grievance. That kind of ghost-seeing sorrow, facing me, cried. He asked me, Zhao Ran, is this your new choice? Will you regret it? Tears fell onto the back of my hand, burning. I had never seen a man cry before. After a moment of shock, I raised my hand and wiped away Mengjiu's tears. I'm sorry to put it this way, but Mengjiu, I have no regrets. I also want to know, if my choice is you, will I win once? 28 years old, in fact, there is no time to fall in love with you, but I still want to try. Mengjiu suddenly smiled. He lowered his head and buried his cheek in the hollow of my neck. Then don't regret it, Zhao Ran, not for the rest of your life. So we, for one night, were ridiculous. We kissed in the elevator and went to my apartment. Our clothes were scattered all over the place, from the sofa to the balcony. The Milan moon was not very round or bright. Mengjiu said, however, that my tears were bright enough. He said he had endured for more than 10 years, and I actually believed him. Between the beds, I used the word brute to describe a man for the first time. Are you trying to kill me? Mengjiu complained. I just can't help it. Because you still look 18 in my eyes. The wine had long since dispersed, between our kisses. The affair was over, and Mengjiu carried me to the shower. In the bathtub, he held me from behind and nibbled my shoulder. Zhao Ran, tell me, you won't look back, you won't abandon me. Mengjiu really lacked love. His love had always been a one-way arrow, with no hope. Now that I've slept with him, he just wants a promise from me. He just wants peace of mind. In the midst of the smoke, I kissed him. I won't look back, Mengjiu, we're not young anymore, let's get along and give it a try. My heart is already empty, now try to fit you in whole, okay? Mengjiu didn't say anything, my shoulders were burning hot. After a long time, he still held me like that. You provoked me first, you keep your word. I have no emotional intelligence and always make others angry, but I never care. Zhao Ran, I care about you. Please love me and give me your advice in the future. I burst out laughing and kissed him again. Later, a good friend from China called me on the phone from abroad. At that time, Mengjiu was explaining to me why the flowers on the balcony had died. Such a talented designer, but his hands were shaking uncontrollably. I really didn't know that plants can drown. I just watered them more. I laughed, but also learned how cute he is during this month. Helpless, I grabbed his hands. These hands should be used to draw design drafts. I have a series to release next month, and Mr. Meng should check it for me, so don't mess with my flowers. Mengjiu pursed his lips and agreed. He kissed me again and observed whether I had calmed down. He still picked up the phone for me. It's a domestic call. He was a little nervous. I took it without hesitation. Ran, you went abroad for a month without telling us, you're not a good friend. I didn't say anything, waiting for his next sentence. He was Jiangxing's friend, and there was really no need for a deep friendship. After a moment, he coughed dryly. When are you coming back? Everyone misses you. You're not used to eating and living abroad, I'd say come back and develop your career here. I interrupted him and smiled distantly. I have no plans to come back for now. It's my freedom to develop my career wherever I want. What are you trying to say? It sounded like someone had snatched the phone away from him, and then there was a busy signal. Speechless, I put the phone aside and gave Mengjiu a hug. What are you worried about? Your eyebrows are all knotted up. Mengjiu shook his head and hugged me tighter. In the other booth, Jiangxing smashed his best friend's phone. No, you're worried about Zhao Ran. Why did you smash my phone? Jiangxing ignored his friend's complaints, stood up and smashed a series of glasses. Seeing that the phone was beyond saving, his friend began to express his dissatisfaction with Jiangxing. Aren't you sure that Zhao Ran can't live without you? Now what's this? People can afford to play around, but you're not willing to let go? Jiangxing instantly became furious. Regret it? She can come back or not? Does she think this will force a successful marriage? His friend shrugged. It seems that only Jiangxing has not seen the current situation clearly. Never mind, there is plenty of time anyway. It's not their wife running away. When I got home, I found that all the family photos were gone. She burned them. All of them. Does she think playing this game will make me regret it? No way. I finally got rid of him, I should be happy. As Jiangxing watched Jiangxing go crazy, his friend rolled his eyes and then came forward to comfort him. Okay, be happy. If you're happy, don't drink, or your stomach problem will come back and no one will get you medicine. Your little mistress Lu Jingjing is lucky she's not taking advantage of your illness to kill you. Jiangxing slammed the door and left, his face dark. When he walked out of the club, he realized that it had started pouring. He didn't have an umbrella. He had wanted to come here for a drink today, and had not driven, but now he was in a difficult situation. He should have asked someone to come and pick him up, but none of the people around him could be relied upon. If only Zhao Ran were still here. Thinking of this, Jiangxing's heart ached again. But he did not feel that this was a complicated emotion. He thought that his dislike for Zhao Ran was simply that. She was already an old girl of 30, what was she playing hard to get? It had been 3 months since she had secretly left the country behind his back, and she had not even sent a text message, let alone called. Fine. If you want to play, I'll play along with you to the end, and we'll see who ends up in the worst situation. He had subconsciously wanted to call Zhao Ran, but his hand had shrunk back. Looking at Zhao Ran's WeChat and phone number, which she had long ago blocked, Jiangxing also blocked her without delay. You've got some nerve, Zhao Ran. You'd better not come back crying and begging. Even if you beg me on your knees to marry you, I won't give you another glance. I was busy as a bee in Milan, putting a lot of effort into my new clothing line. Mengjiu especially noticed this. Perhaps taking my joking words seriously, he really started to build up momentum for me. In particular, he designed matching jewelry styles specifically for my clothing line. In our spare time, we would sit opposite each other in front of the French windows and draw, and time would pass unawares. What are we eating tonight? Once it was time to eat, Mengjiu would take the initiative to do the household chores of cooking. It wasn't until I reunited with him that I realized that this person not only studies well, but also cooks really well. For me in a foreign country, it's simply a must-have treasure. Home-cooked food, I guess. Mengjiu nods as he looks at me. Shall I go prepare the ingredients? Or would you rather go to a Chinese restaurant on the street? I tease him, would the restaurant be as good as your cooking? Mengjiu shakes his head with pride. Let's eat at home, and I can even cook you dessert afterwards. What about the tip, Mr. Meng? I put the draft away, stand up, and the next second I am embraced by Meng Jiao. There is no kiss, just a light embrace. This is the tip. The more I spend time with Meng Jiao, the softer my heart becomes. There was a time when I thought Jiangxing would be devoted to me until the end of our lives. But reality slapped me in the face. What I had been pursuing for 10 years, what I had dreamed of in love, was now being offered to me by someone I had passed up when I was young. I have never been a good person with lofty ideals. The choice I made at the age of 18 was because of a heart-pounding feeling at the age of 18. But this time, the choice was no longer just because of the pounding of my heart and my passionate pursuit. At the age of 28, I knew exactly what I wanted. I wanted to be favored, to have a career, a family, and children. So after discovering that Jiangxing had cheated on me, I took the time to clear my mind, and it took less than a week to break up with him cleanly, and it took less than a few months to accept Meng Jiao. I just want a family. At first, I was using Meng Jiao a little bit, using him to get back at Jiangxing and to fulfill my own life plan. But now it seems that I love him. Sometimes the heart really cannot be controlled. That night, we had a bottle of red wine with our home-cooked meal. Meng Jiao teased me about the incongruous pairing. I just toasted with him. That night, we took our relationship to the next level. We were clear-headed and completely responsible for each other. I don't understand why Meng Jiao always feels so inferior in my presence. I was the one who promised to love him, but he was the one who came back to please me. So while our fingers were intertwined, I took the initiative to slip the custom-made ring onto his ring finger. Meng Jiao, I'm now responsible for my choice, so will you marry me? I may be a precedent for someone who proposes in bed. Especially when they're crying and panting while proposing. Meng Jiao's otherwise animalistic movements were like hitting the freeze frame button. Like me, a film of moisture instantly appeared in the corners of his eyes, making him look so appealing. Of course I do. The moment he slipped the ring onto my finger, he stopped moving altogether. Our movements were awkward, but he still looked down at the ring on his hand. After a long while, he buried his head and kissed me softly. You proposed, Zhao Ran, so you can't go back on your word. No running away from the wedding. I was so annoyed that I could hardly stand it, and I was about to laugh. No. You. Hurry. I kicked him in the chest, and the man finally woke up from his dream. He embraced me with a smile. I know how to make you not run away from marriage. Ran, let's have a baby. Getting married with a baby on the way will make me more important. As I was about to fall, I blushed and kicked him again. Nonsense. Some people are happy, while others are sad. Even Jiangxing didn't know what was wrong with him. He clearly liked Lu Jingjing, but now he was the one who had driven the girl away. But as the days passed, Zhao Ran was as good as dead, and there was no news from her. At some point, Jiangxing had blacklisted Zhao Ran's number. He thought that if Zhao Ran called him again, cried a little, and begged him, he could be soft-hearted for once and forgive her. But no. God, not even a fart. Lu Jingjing was unwilling to let go and kept pestering him, questioning what he had done wrong. Aren't you the one who likes me the most? I'm young and pretty. Isn't that the way you like me the most? Why did you dump me? The girl was new to society and might really have put her heart into it. She just didn't understand why she was still dumped even though she had done so well and her appearance had become even more radiant. And Jiangxing's answer was, I'm tired of it. Those two words were the final verdict. Just as he had done when he had kicked Zhao Ran out. Jiangxing had no other women around him, and occasionally when he was distracted, he would drink. Lu Jingjing understood almost instantly. She sneered at Jiang Xing as she pocketed his check, with a bitter smile. You got bored after 10 years of being together, and you'll get bored after 10 weeks of being in love? What about next time? 10 days. Jiang Xing, I don't even know what you really want. She had her own spirit after all, and she didn't forget to spit in Jiang Xing's face as she left. I'll tell you something else today, the people you drive away will never come back to you. I'm not just talking about me, but also your ex-wife, who was with you for 10 years. I saw her when I came here to find you last time. She walked past me. That day was supposed to be your 10th anniversary, right? I heard it was also her birthday. That old woman left crying that day. Oh, I remember now. It was pouring with rain that day. I saw her holding a ring box in her hand, and she just walked into the rain. It was really pitiful, wasn't it? Before he could finish, Jiang Xing suddenly grabbed the bottle in front of him and slammed it onto the ground. Glass shards and wine splattered everywhere, and the other end of the bottle made a long cut on Jiang Xing's arm. The room fell silent. The cut was bleeding profusely and looked terrifying. But no one dared to go over and take care of it. Jiang Xing glared at Lu Jingjing and said, "Please leave." After Lu Jingjing left, Jiang Xing's friends dared to come up and show concern for him. What the hell were you thinking? You sent a woman away, and you even hurt yourself. Jiang Xing, however, didn't listen to their rambling, and took out his phone to dial Zhao Ran's number. But it seemed that he had forgotten that he was still on Zhao Ran's blacklist. So his already ugly face became even more gloomy. Jiang Xing glared at a close friend and yelled, "Call Zhao Ran." His friend looked confused, fearing that his new phone would also be ruined by this idiot. No, what do I say when I call her? She doesn't know me well, and I think she's already annoyed with us because of you. Jiang Xing roared, "Just tell her. I'm hurt. I'm hurt. Ask her if she cares." When everyone looked, it seemed that Jiang Xing was the first to lose his temper. His friend had no choice but to take a deep breath and dial Zhao Ran's number. This time, there was a long pause before the other end answered. Zhao Ran's voice came through the receiver, amplified on speakerphone. "What is it?" There was still that same sense of distance as before. Jiang Xing suddenly stopped talking and stared silently at the cut on his arm. Blood dripped down his arm and gathered in a puddle on the floor. His friend rolled his eyes at Jiang Xing's pitiful appearance and spoke to the woman on the other end in a flattering voice. "Ran, that? Jiang Ge had an accident. You." The phone was already quiet, and now it was even more awkward than if it had been hung up. "Ran? Come back and see Jiang Ge, he's hurt, it really looks painful. He just got out of the hospital a few days ago with a stomach problem, and today he hurt his hand." Everyone was waiting for a response from the other end of the line, and although Jiang Xing's face was stern, his ears were pricked up. Until a man's voice came from the other end of the line. "Ran, let's get married in this church, shall we?" In an instant, the atmosphere in the box was more uncomfortable than if someone had died. Jiang Xing froze in place, unable to believe his ears. Until Zhao Ran spoke calmly. "I'm busy, so don't tell me insignificant things in the future." Almost as soon as he heard these words, Jiang Xing couldn't hold back any longer. He snatched the phone and yelled at the receiver. "What are you busy with? I'm asking you what you're busy with. Are you busy getting married? Who are you getting married to?" "Zhao Ran. Zhao Ran." No matter how loudly he shouted, Zhao Ran couldn't hear him over there. His best friend kindly reminded him that hung up a long time ago. Unable to bear it anymore, Jiang Xing slammed his hand down, and the phone cracked. His best friend fell to the ground, wanting to cry out but afraid to make a sound. He felt most aggrieved, but dared not say a word. She lied to me, she lied to you. She lied to all of us. Zhao Ran will never get married. She loves me to death, but she's just putting on an act, playing with my emotions. Everyone fell silent. After a long while, the girl sitting in the corner stood up and gave Jiangxing a look. After all these years, I've had enough of you too. Let me tell you, Jiangxing, you deserve this. Yes. You do. You deserve it. You've wasted 10 years of Zhao Ran's life, and in the end you just casually threw her away because you were tired of her. Now you're putting on a big show here? And what about how you love her to death? I'll tell you, I've known Zhao Ran for 10 years too, and she's got a high opinion of herself. She's wanted to dump you for ages. The girl snorted derisively and continued. It's just that I can't help thinking about your past together, and your future together. You drove her away. So what if she married someone else? Isn't that what she should have done? Jiangxing, you're such a scumbag, you don't deserve to be liked. Zhao Ran made the right decision by leaving you. You're good at acting cocky in front of us, but you might as well go back to your house and reflect on how stupid you've been over the past few years. After a tirade, the girl threw her bag and left, leaving a group of dumbfounded people behind. A friend who had just had his phone smashed also sighed and stood up. Jiang, think about it for yourself. Don't torture us anymore. If you really can't let go of Zhao Ran, what good will an apology do? What if she really doesn't come back? Do you want to drag us all crazy for the rest of our lives? After saying this, he dragged a few of his best friends and left too. Soon, the private room was left with Jiangxing alone. No way. Jiangxing's voice trembled, and this was the first time he had a clear emotional perception of Zhao Ran's leaving. That was fear. I don't know how long it took, so long that the cuts on his arms had almost bled dry. It was so long that Jiangxing's lips turned white. He finally came out of his daze. No way will I let you get married. He rushed out the door, dialing Zhao Ran's phone number while he ran. And Lu Jingjing's words kept repeating in his mind. A ring? Was she trying to propose to him that day? Zhao Ran sighed. Had just hung up the phone when Mengjiu carefully embraced me from behind. He was still in the same position, burying his head in the hollow of my neck. Will you blame me? I was surprised. What? Mengjiu then grumbled. I knew exactly who was on the other end of the phone, but I still spoke to you to provoke him. Will you hate me? Will you go back? Will you feel sorry for him? He asked me a series of questions without giving me time to answer, and his voice sounded extremely frustrated. I waited until he was quiet before I started to answer. You and I both know who is on the other end of the phone, and we also know what his intentions are in trying to test me. I don't love him anymore, so there is no emotion in my heart. I also know that you said that on purpose, but I like it. Why would I hate you for something so enjoyable? I definitely have to go back. I still have to go back to China for the design exhibition, not because of him. Having said that, do you want to go back with me? Mengjiu was silent for a moment, then turned me around and kissed me. Of course I want to go back, I'm your husband. As planned, my wedding was supposed to be very rushed. After all, the work schedule was too tight. But Mengjiu pushed a lot of work off for me and implemented the wedding planning plan. He did everything himself and even found time to design a pair of diamond rings for us. I majored in fashion design and drew up a wedding dress design again. This time, I followed Mengjiu's standards, but he said, do it your way, it's you who's getting married, not me. I like you, so I like whatever you like. I hope that at our wedding, you wear a wedding dress that you like. As long as I can wear the ring I designed, I'll be happy. We have enough respect for each other, so there are fewer arguments. Mengjiu loves me a lot. I also love Mengjiu well, and Mengjiu's sense of unease has also decreased. I want it to continue like this forever. This is the life I want. The wedding was finally set for 2 ceremonies, one in Milan and one in China. Since there were no family or teachers in Milan, we only invited a few friends and industry leaders to the simple but loving ceremony. But I didn't expect that, even so, someone still didn't want to let me have my way. Bride, do you take this man before you, in sickness and in health, for richer or poorer, to love and to cherish, as long as you both shall live? I do. To be honest, I always thought that Mengjiu's reputation as a difficult person was a false persona he had created for himself. Otherwise, who is this man who is crying like a child in front of me? I teased him, but the priest gave me a glare. Bride, look at the gentleman in front of you. Whether from now on, in sickness or in health, in poverty or in wealth, do you still want to marry him as your husband? For life, never to be separated. Looking at Mengjiu's expectant face, I didn't rush to give an answer. My mind was full of the little moments I had spent with him. It's really funny to say that I haven't been able to exchange love for 10 years. I felt it in Mengjiu in such a short period of time. I didn't think I would be so emotional. But looking at Mengjiu, I also followed him and my eyes filled with tears. Be good, say you'll do it. Mengjiu reminded me while crying, afraid that I would say something out of line. A smile appeared at the corner of my mouth. She doesn't want to. Just as I was about to finish speaking, the last person I wanted to see in my life burst into the scene. Jiangxing was no longer the same person he once was. Instead, he looked haggard and disheveled, as if he had just managed to find his way here. In his hands, he was clutching the pair of diamond rings I had designed. They were in a slightly dirty red velvet box, and Jiangxing held them up in front of me as if to claim credit. Zhao Ran, don't be angry with me anymore. I admit defeat. Leave Mengjiu and come to me. Look, I've found the rings. We'll get married as soon as we get back. I've already asked Lu Jingjing to leave. These days The man seemed to be having some difficulty saying what he wanted to say. Miss you. Come back with me, you don't have to work anymore. Just be Mrs. Jiang and I will give you everything you want. Don't you want to marry me? Isn't this what you've been waiting for 10 years? Come with me. As soon as he said that, Mengjiu, who was standing next to me, rushed down the stairs. In most people's eyes, Mengjiu has always been a gentleman. Although he is not easy to get close to and has a sharp tongue, he is still considered a gentleman. Seeing him fight in public for the first time was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. He pinned Jiangxing to the ground and beat him up, hurling insults at him. The priest at the scene, who could understand what was being said, drew a cross. Jiangxing reacted and a fight broke out between him and Mengjiu. Jiangxing's expletives were also very unpleasant, and every word was an accusation against Mengjiu. Until he was so furious that he wanted to fight to the death with Mengjiu. I walked down and stood in front of Mengjiu and said slowly, "Dare you lay a finger on my husband, just try. I and the child in my womb will not let you go." Mengjiu was shocked and delighted, and the first thing he did was come over to protect me. Jiangxing froze. "You're pregnant. 10 years. I patted away his trembling hand pointing at me. "I've been waiting to marry you for 3 years and 3 years. But you're still the same." You've made me look like a joke. I'm already 28 years old, not an 18-year-old girl anymore. I choose not to love you anymore. I have the right to fight for my own happiness. Jiangxing, I think I made it very clear from the day I broke up with you. I don't want to have anything to do with you from now on. Jiangxing couldn't believe it and showed me the ring box in his hand. You're lying. You've changed your mind after 10 years with me. Who the hell would believe that? I could have raised a dog for 10 years. How could you just turn around and marry someone else? Having said that, I took Mengjiu's hand. Huh? Then I'll tell you now, when I was 18, I fell in love with you in just one recess. I invested 10 years in that one fleeting moment of heartache. And when I was 28, I fell in love with Mengjiu in just 2 months. I can tell you now with certainty that I can invest 50 years in that fleeting moment of heartache. Now I don't love you anymore, and I've let go of all the past. I've fed your youthful love to the dogs. Now go, and don't let me see you again. I swung the bouquet in my hand and turned to yell at the priest on the stage. I do. I forgot how Jiangxing left my sight that day. I only knew that when I came back to my senses, there was only an old red cloth box containing an old ring on the ground. The past is dark and cannot be pursued, and the road ahead is bright and splendid. Mengjiu understood this very well and nodded repeatedly. He took my hand, which was wearing the ring he had designed himself, and reverently placed a kiss on it. From the time I turned 18 until now, my favorite has always been you. I raised an eyebrow. Now there's a new competitor, the one inside you. He gave a bright smile and asked, so are we very close to achieving your ultimate goal of you falling in love with me? I kissed him on the lips. Maybe, after all, it's a 50-year investment.